radio station, and you can watch us too. We are on your computer or your mobile device. Just head on over to supertalktv.com and you'll see I'm not alone today. And you may have heard that the 21st season of American Idol has officially kicked off, and of course Mississippi is well represented. And joining us today is one of the contestants, Zachariah Smith, who recently moved to Amory, and he wowed all three of the judges. Hey, Zachariah.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, you're 19, but I read where at 15 you first had your eyes set on auditioning for American Idol. What made you wait until now? Why did you feel like this was your year to show them what you got?
Well, that's a great question. Back in 2018, I thought that I had it, and I went out there. It was open call auditions back then. And so, I thought I'd give it my all then, and I was obviously too young, didn't make it through. But this year, I just kind of had a spark in me, and I felt like it was in me. It was meant for me to do it this year. And so I just thought, why not go ahead and audition on Zoom? And I took my chances, and I guess I don't know.
Well, it was definitely your year, and the planets aligned. And I was sharing your story with a friend, Zachariah, who has a daughter who hopes to be on American Idol or one of the shows at some point. And she was saying what a beautiful story of someone who chased their dream, maybe didn't make it the first go, but, with a little maturity and work, never let that get out of sight, and then went back for it and, wowed all three, and now moving on to the next round. And what a good teaching opportunity your story is for us and sort of our kids. So thanks for going back, by the way. It was
absolutely.
But that's not when you started singing. You started way back before 15, if you can imagine that. I read where I think like 5 or 6 is when you found you had some chops. How did that come about?
Yeah, so my mom has played piano all of her life, and we were sitting down just watching TV one day, and a movie had came on that we were very familiar with, and I just started singing along with the movie, and my mom was like, "Wow, my son can sing." And so I just started singing in church at 6 years old, and I've never stopped. I've done it my entire life.
Now, you haven't lived in Mississippi your whole life, but we're claiming you because you are living here now. How long was it before you moved to Amory?
I have lived in Mississippi for about a year now. But obviously, I got married, and so now I'm a stepfather of 3, and Amory, Mississippi's treated me well, and I love Amory, Mississippi.
One part of your story that I think everybody loves is the fact that you were just like so many of us, getting up every morning, being a father, stepfather, working to support your family there at a local restaurant, Bill's Hamburgers, and the love that you've sort of shown to the restaurant and the community there at Amory. Tell us a little bit about Bill's Hamburgers, because I feel like they've kind of stolen the show in terms of, what you did prior to your American Idol opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bill's Hamburgers will always hold a special place in my heart, and so will the customers of Bill's Hamburgers. But with Bill's Hamburgers being my story here, it really just, I feel like it shows America that I truly am just a people person. And I really just enjoy entertaining, serving, whatever I can do for the people. And so even if it means I just sit there and cook on the grill all day and I'm singing, Bob Moran by the Beach Boys, a lot of customers just enjoy, coming in and seeing me at the grill and maybe whistling or humming along. And, you are right. Bill's has stole a little bit of the spotlight, but that's okay. Bill's will always feel like home to me.
Well, that's one of the other parts that makes Mississippi so great, Zachariah, is the fact that we support our local people and talent, but also our local restaurants. And for Bill's to be around in Amory, I think you mentioned on air on American Idol 75 going on the upwards towards 100 years. It means they're doing something right there in Amory, Mississippi to make it that long. But boy, you're doing something right. You got 3 very enthusiastic yeses from all 3 judges, Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, Luke Bryan. Not everybody gets that. And so what was that like to just hear positive vibes from all three judges?
Yeah, I mean, after I had sang everything, Luke had looked at me and said, "Go back to Amory." And at that point, I thought, okay, Luke's going to give me a no. It's okay, I can accept it. And then he told me to get a little lighter fluid and go burn the apron. So to hear that I wasn't, going to have to be making burgers anymore, I was ecstatic, of course. But it's such a once in a lifetime opportunity that you get. And I'm just so thankful for each and every single one of them for finally giving me that yes that I've awaited all of these years.
Well, it definitely wasn't your first time entertaining in front of folks. And if it was, then you really are a natural because you looked like you'd been doing it for years and super comfortable with it. Where did that come from? Is there someone in your family that also kind of has the entertainer vibe to them? Or is it just Zachariah just being Zachariah, as maybe your family would say?
Well, music has always been in my family's blood. Um, However, I have always looked up to Michael Jackson. He was one of my biggest inspirators. And I didn't know about him until his passing. And so I guess being that little boy, seeing him, dancing and singing the Thriller and seeing, dead people coming out of the grave, whatnot, and dancing in the street, it somehow just sparked something in me and was like, I think I want to do that for a living.
Well, I think you're on your way, Zachariah. I definitely do that. And I know the song choice, anytime we have someone here who's had the opportunity to make it to the next or out of the auditions in one of these, it always goes back to song choice being so important. And gosh, there's endless song opportunities out there, right? For you to have to pick one for the biggest stage or the moment of your life. So, how did you land on the one that you chose for American Idol?
Yeah, so with Hurt So Good, it's a very challenging song, and it doesn't sound like it would be. However, if you don't have the natural rasp to say, you're going to be struggling. And so rock and roll is already, my mix of, colors, I'll say. It's my genre. And so I had Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger. And I kid you not, 15 minutes before my audition, they had asked me, they were like, why don't you try this song? And so I did. And they were like, would you be comfortable doing this as your audition? And I was like, well, if you think it's going to get me that golden ticket, then yeah, let's do it. So we pulled the trigger last minute and I had switched it.
How much did you get to, or how long did you have to practice it after the switch, prior to walking on stage in front of the judges? Because I feel like, changing your shoes or your outfit's one thing, but changing something you've been practicing or thinking to have to say in public is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people wouldn't know this, but now they will. I didn't have a whole lot of time to practice that song, excuse me. And so I was just sitting there going over it in my head outside of the audition waiting room, or the green room, you can say. And I just had to mentally prepare myself. A lot of it is a mental game, aside from song choice. And if you're not mentally prepared, it's going to be very challenging for you. But I think, I put myself in a good place. And it was a great song, and everybody has loved it. Everybody's loved the audition. I think it was a fantastic choice.
It was, and talk about being mentally prepared. All the different sort of singing competitions have their different way of doing things. One, you don't see the judges obviously until they turn around. But American Idol, you're always staring them down in the eyes, all six eyes, all three
Hmm.
judges the whole time. Do you remember the first judge that showed interest in what you were doing?
Yeah, I had walked in and I'm just sitting there looking at all three of them, and Katie had just seemed to be the one that had just, she was like, he is so much fun. And so I figured at that point, I was like, okay, she's gonna give me my first yes.
She was. I watched your audition, and I think you had two notes out of your mouth, and her eyes just lit up, and wow, this kid's got something. And this is so much fun, Zachary. Zachariah, can you hang on with us for just a second? Can you do the break?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All All right, we got more with Zachariah Smith coming up next, 21st season of TV.com, and you can watch our guest, Zachariah Smith. He is on the 21st season of American Idol, which has kicked off, and he recently moved to Amory over a year ago, so he is a Mississippi boy. And Rhino was on point using Elvis to bring you back in, Zachariah, because I was stalking your Instagram earlier, which, every good fan does, right? And I came across the sweetest video of you there, I think at Bill's Hamburgers, if I'm correct, there in Amory, and you had two wise in years, which is elderly, customers who stopped you. So tell us what happened and what they asked of you, because I melted. This was just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was going back and forth. We had a really busy day, but it was actually one of those ladies' birthdays. And so instead of singing happy birthday, I wanted an Elvis. And which of course I'm a sucker for Elvis. I love Elvis. And so I was like, why don't I give them something different? Because, I do have people come in and ask for, happy birthday. But I was like, Elvis.
So now I'm going to ask you, can you sing it for us?
Well, yeah, I can try. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Much better than Happy Birthday, Zachariah, I'd have to say. Much better. And I love that even though, maybe you weren't born and raised here in Mississippi, our hometown boy Elvis still has his, influence on you and sort of your future. But I think you've got a big future no matter who your influence is. You're going to figure out your sort of own path on the show. And so what happens next? Because we kind of forget that there's multiple ways that the different shows work, right? You guys don't necessarily have a coach, or sort of do you? So set us up for once you get your golden ticket, now that you have it, well, what's next? And then what could be next for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's certain things I can and can't say, but what I can say is Hollywood Week is right around the corner, and I think everybody is going to thoroughly enjoy it. No matter what happens throughout this season, just to be able to say that I was an American Idol and I got my golden ticket, that is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you don't get that opportunity very often. And so, you know, Hollywood Week's going to come, and, there's a lot of challenges that you have to face, figuring out who you are as a performer and picking the right song choices, maybe staying up late and learning a new song. A lot of those things play into factor. And so Hollywood Week is a challenge to see, if you can really handle the music business. And I feel like American Idol really does a great job of preparing you for what lies ahead in your future.
Were you shocked by any of that, or kind of had you already understood, maybe not understood all the business? I mean, you're only 19, but then also it's hard to know what you don't know if you've never really been into it. But do you feel like you kind of had, I guess, a little idea that it was going to be a bit of a grind, or has something shocked you about sort of the behind the scenes of it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is such a challenging week. And so, before I go, I'm just, right now I'm even mentally preparing myself. Um, and so, you have to be ready for whatever. There could be something that comes up to spur of the moment, and they're like, hey, we need you to learn this song. And so, I mean, you got to do it. So, it's just certain things like that, you have to be ready for. But you also want to have fun as well. And you don't want to overthink it. I really just want to go out there and have fun, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, that is why I would never be good at it, Zachariah. I overthink everything. So I'm in my right lane for sure. But you've also had opportunity now to get past the smaller stages there in Amory, or within the community, and gotten to have some gigs, and the community is supporting you. So what you've been doing, where are you going? We all want to be able to support you. How can we do that?
Absolutely. I've been, I'm going into the schools and I'm, kind of giving something for the kids to get excited about. Because of course, then they go home and they're like, "We saw American Idol, Zach Smith," and so they get excited and they tell their parents about it and they tell everybody that they know. And so I've been, doing little gigs here and there in Amory at, Smoking Bros, one of the best restaurants we have in here, by the way. And so, I just, I really try to connect with the community. Because this is, I want to get them involved as well. This isn't just for me, but this whole audition and just this journey is, it's for my family and it's for Amory. And even back in my hometown, Wabash, Indiana, this is for them as well. And so I really just try to get out into the community and, be the best that I can and, just stay humble and, you know, try to be an entertainer.
And enjoy it. I mean, Rhino and I were talking 21 season of American Idol. That would mean we were almost your age when American Idol first started, which I know not to keep poking fun at, and I'm not poking fun, but bringing up how young you are. But do you remember the first, like when you first knew that American Idol was even in like a show? How old were you? Do you remember like, or who won? Who was sort of your first sort of I guess, American Idol that you looked up to?
Yeah, definitely. I had watched Carrie Underwood audition, and I had also watched Fantasia audition. And so, there I was pretty young. So I was just, learning into the whole American Idol world. But when I really started paying attention and watching, people like James Durbin and Lauren Elena and Scotty McCreery, all of these people started coming in together, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool like thing. Now I can see why everybody revs it up and why everybody wants to vote. And so, ever since James Durbin and all of them, I've been voting every season, and so hopefully now I can pull in America's vote.
Absolutely. You'll definitely have Mississippi's vote for sure, Zachariah. That's one thing we do well is we get behind our home team and so for you, that's a good thing. And I don't remember what season Taylor Hicks was on American Idol, but he has been with us here in the Good Thing studio. So you got some good juju headed from the studio to you sort of that way. Season 5, is that what you said, Rhino? Wow, we were babies too back then. But a show that's been around for that long, you just know that they obviously know what they're doing. The people like it and enjoy it. And so I think, you're in for a wild ride. Do you know when Hollywood Week will come back around? Or are they still in audition phase? I know they had some last night. You got another Mississippi girl on board going to Hollywood Week. So when does all that happen?
Yeah, I don't have an exact schedule, but I do know that Hollywood Week is literally right around the corner, and these audition processes are, slowly coming to an end. So I think, America just needs to know, just brace yourself for the next best season. There we go, of American Idol.
So your golden ticket, is it a literal ticket? Did you get to keep it? Does it like a passport? Do you actually have to use it for something? I need to know about the ticket.
Yeah, that's a great question. I had actually packed it with me when I was going to Los Angeles, thinking I would need to be like, hey, going to, Los Angeles. But I didn't. And yes, you get to keep your golden ticket, and it's almost kind of like an Oscar or a Grammy. You just, you put it on your shelf, you wake up and you look at it every single day.
And it reminds you, Zachariah, and so many watching or listening to Good Things, even if you go for your dreams once and it doesn't work out the way you wanted to, don't be afraid to brush up, get back up, and go after it again because it may be the right time for you to sort of go to that next level, which is exactly what happened to you. Where can we find you online? Where can we support you in the social world?
Yes, absolutely. I will have all my links out, but if you go to at real Zachariah Smith, ZACH, got to get that H in there. That should lead you to my Instagram, my Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the socials. And I'm always posting daily and posting videos of me and my kiddos and my daily life at Bill's Hamburgers and all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. You keep singing Elvis, and we're going to keep rooting for you. And congratulations, bud. We are wishing you the best. And hey, if you make it to the next level, You know where to find us. You're welcome back here anytime, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless y'all.
All righty, you guys stick with us. We got a little bit more for you coming up next.